I think you guys are ready. I think you have some questions, and I think you want to know where the Chiefs are going. Well, we're going to give you some answers. This is going to be fun. It's your Q&A night here on RGR Football. Welcome to the show. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is RGR Football. Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom football fans around the world, etc., etc., etc. Monday night. It's a Monday night in America with football on everyone's mind. So we're going to do Q&A. This is Dan Harms. Say hello to everyone. You saw him last night because he admirably filled in for me when my Chiefs plans didn't quite line up to channel's plans last night. So thank you. Cheers. Tonight, not going to have a pretense, not going to go over. I put Patrick on the thumbnail because I think overall, about this back and forth between defensive prospects that they have to have and what do you do with the Mahomes offense. So we're going to address both tonight through your questions, I am sure. If you are new to this channel, this is what we do on Monday nights. Make sure you like the channel or the video because I think you will like this video. And if you don't already, well, then I'll give you something for it here. Make sure you sub to the channel because a lot going on all season long, 365. It just goes on and on and on. It's almost 4 years now. So there's a lot going on here. And then make sure you click the bell so you get notifications when something happens, especially as we go, like probably not a lot of action before the draft, but after, I think it's going to be an interesting time. The fact that Tyron's still sitting out there, I'm wondering. So, we'll see. But as we said, super chatters, if you support the channel, we very much support you. I guarantee you will get an answer to your question tonight. If you do super chat us, please ask something or make a comment that we can then comment out something for you tonight. I will try to get to the rest of the questions as well. And just remember, if a lot of folks are asking the same similar question about a player or whatever, we're just going to stack them up. So not everybody's going to get on screen, but we're going to do that. And it looks like we have a good number of them set. So let's start with Cole. How are you, Cole? Thought I'd pop in real quick. What's your take on all these so-called rumors about Chiefs trading up for a top-tier wide receiver before the draft? Won't be here for the live. Okay, sorry that you're going to miss it, but thanks for the question, Cole. Appreciate you as always. Folks, he's one of our members. You can see that little icon, so we'll jump in here and get his right away. Rumors are rumors because there's some ounce of truth to it. Most of the time. Yes, they're calling around all the teams. They're always checking about, hey, can we get this? What do you need for this? Where do you want to go? Who do you happen to be targeting there in Jacksonville? What can we help you with? But by the time the fans get to it, that's where it starts to get blown out of proportion. And then hope and desire fades into what is a rumor that doesn't have a source, and then all of a sudden you're down a creek without a paddle and you don't know what's real and what's not. I think they're looking into it. I don't think they want to spend the cost. Overall, Dan, do you think that they do, and do you think that they should?
So this is the exact topic of my video for tomorrow. I go over both scenarios. There's actually 3 different scenarios the Chiefs can have in the first round, what their options are. But where usually the phrase lends itself, where there's smoke, there's fire. We all know the Chiefs want a receiver. There has been multiple reports about them wanting to inquire about multiple receivers around the NFL. And that has led me to believe that people are extrapolating that into, that just means they're going to trade up for a receiver because they have the draft capital. I don't necessarily think it has to be up for a wide receiver. There's really 2 positions that it could be, in my opinion. You'll find those out tomorrow. But yeah, I just can't really pick a side right now, what's real and what's not.
It all depends on the deal, right? It's the art of making the deal. Thank you, Cole. Have a good night, and we'll catch up with you later. Let's see. Steven, thank you. Wide receiver CB. Wide receiver Pickens, if moving up from 50 to the 38-42 range. Okay. Yeah, I think that's within the ballpark for Pickens. He's definitely in my top 50. I haven't stacked it all the way out yet. Do you have an idea of where you like him best?
Ideally would be 50, but I think he's going to be going in the first round because of everything that's happening. I think that the Chiefs wanted to get an idea of his recovery. Clearly, he wasn't at full health in the season. I think at the combine, he was probably still a step short of what he could be, but they want to get a gauge on him. But 50 would be my ideal spot, but I think we're seeing the need of wide receiver and the potential for a guy who has a lot of upside that we have kind of seen in college that has diminished over the last couple of years, that kind of pushes people up boards because you've seen it and now you're hoping, oh, maybe if he's healthy, he can get back to that. So I think he's probably going to end up being a late first round guy.
Yeah, I agree. And Steven, as far as the corners go, I have my thoughts here. I haven't been crunching corner film because I've been doing the guide. And by the way, you guys, the guide's coming along. I'm pushing real hard to get it Wednesday. It might slip to Thursday, but I should have it for you for the weekend. If you want to get it, the easiest way to do it is go over here at rogueapc.com. You can add on to the athletic matrix. The matrix is built into our formulas, and you will see our film grades on our top 10 guys at every position, maybe top 15 at some, depending on how much work we got it.
Yeah, right.
But the matrix will be worked into every formula for every player as well. So it is a nice companion, puts it together with the matrix and gets you a lot. And that code, RGR22AM, that's going to work for the draft guide as well. So just kind of stash that away or go get the matrix now, whatever y'all feel like doing. It's it's a culmination of a lot of hours. Let's put it there.
Yeah, right.
Patrick Mayer, curious how willing Poles is to be as a trade partner with Chiefs. That makes sense. And what if we could get Quinn for a third? Now, this is one of the rumors that I think is just kind of out there. I think, honestly, this is team initiated through their beat reporters said, hey, we might be willing to move him just to kind of get the temperature of what people might trade for. I don't think Poles is unwilling to trade with anyone, and I would think it makes sense that he and Veach have a close relationship, obviously. It's just Brett Veach isn't giving anybody a sweetheart deal because he used to work for him. You know what I mean?
No.
And, I mean, Robert Quinn for a third? Maybe. I don't think I'd give up 94. I'd want the lower one, but experience goes a long way.
Yeah, I don't think I'd do it for any more than a fourth. I think that his season last year was a one-off, if I'm being honest. To the guy his age, you think he's going to have another season just like that? I don't. And I'm not going to bet a third-round pick for a guy who could, I mean, it's a dart throw at third round, even more so, but he's much younger.
Right.
And we're talking about players to make your roster younger. If you want to get somebody to be a veteran, just go sign Melvin Ingram tomorrow.
And tell him he doesn't have to come to camp. He doesn't have to come to OTAs.
Put his contract.
Just tell him, hey, you can have the time off. We don't care. We know you ain't going to do nothing anyway.
Exactly.
You're going to come up with a mysterious hamstring thing that keeps you out anyway. So don't worry about it. Patrick, thank you. And thank you for the example. Folks, if you're new, I see a lot of people like saying things in the chat that I can't quite keep up with. If you want your question answered, right above here, put those question marks at the beginning. It's the only way I can really pick them out of the chat when we're like full stream and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, it's going to get ugly fast. Curtis, in another video of yours after drafting Jermaine Johnson, you stated that drafting another Ed would be a luxury. How would that be a luxury considering Clark may miss time, no Ingram yet? Well, that was the thing, is the assumption was that they'd have Ingram in-house by now. And I think that was at least a month ago that I said that. At this point, you've seen me over the last few weeks get into the point where I think they got a double dip.
Yep.
And with 29 and 30, I could go back to back. I could spread them out with a couple of trades. I could do whatever. But I think it's really, really reasonable right now that you want to get young. But there's a drop-off, you guys. There's a drop-off for certain when you get past the top four.
Yeah.
Then there's another like cliff after 8 or 9. And then I don't think it's worth it anymore. Then you're talking dev guys.
Yeah, that's why you're seeing Ryan and I start to really talk about keeping these 6 picks in the top 3 rounds and just try to get as many guys that you think have upside that you can really get in that lineup as fast as possible. Just try and take as many of them as you can, because really, once you get on day 3, this is those guys are gone. They are gone. Like there's some measurable and testing guys that you can throw some darts at, but this is not guys that have like actual tape against good competition with that upside. So that's what the problem is.
Yeah, and I'm all for taking chances late in the draft, but this year in particular, they have to get production from rookies, job one, right away at the edge. How late in the draft can we find a starting corner? I mean, Legarius needs a 4th-round pick. Rashad Fenton's a 6th-round pick. Technically, they're starters. I like Rashad in more of a backup fill-in role kind of thing. But you can find gems. The question is, you can't rely
Yes.
on finding gems on day 3. I think they got to be more proactive. And like you said, Dan, 6 picks in the top 100. Go get a corner. A corner's got to be one of them for me.
Has to be.
And we'll see if Brett Veach just foils me again. Or maybe they make an acquisition. Maybe Gilmore does come in before the draft. Who knows? Is the rumor, thank you, Zach, and thank you, Lucas, is the rumor about Trayvon Walker going number 1, if it happens, does it completely screw the Chiefs in trying to get an edge at 29 or 30? No. Because he's going to go long before the Chiefs are picking anyway. So it doesn't matter if he goes at 1 or if he goes at 12.
Yeah.
You know? Could they reasonably get up to 15 with the Eagles? Yes, they have a relationship there. I think it's much harder to go up to like 11 with the Commanders or break into the top 10 with the Jets. You know, like that just feels like less groundwork is already laid, but you never know.
No, yeah, exactly. You never do. Like I think that 11 is probably the highest they could go if they wanted to move. Like if the Commanders wanted to move from 11 to 29.
Right.
Like, that's the biggest hurdle in this whole process is if you get to 11 and the Commanders are like, well, our board's pretty much not what we wanted it to be. And the way we see it, we can probably get guys we were looking for around that. That's the only option you really have of being able to get up that high. And I think that you've talked about it. I did it last night. Trading up with the Patriots at 21 makes a lot of feasible sense for both teams, honestly. I think it makes a lot of sense for both. So that's probably where I settle in terms of one or the other. But, you know, Trayvon Walker was unfortunately going top 10 for a long time now. And after those top 4 guys go, it always was going to be a who's going to be the next guy off the board. That's probably kind of how it played out.
Yeah. And it was a Jabo for me. He was 5 until the injury. Now it's a toss-up. And I'd still take him over Karlaftis. I'll just tell you guys that. If we're going power edge, I'm taking Thomas. Right? If we're going power edge, I'm taking Cam Thomas at 50 than I am doing Karlaftis at 30.
Yeah.
Not even close for me.
Yep.
If we trade up, would you take Stingley over the edge that we can get at 30 or in the second? It depends. If you go to 21 and Stingley's there, I could give it a shot. I don't have his medicals. Nobody has his medicals with the teams. That's really the determining factor.
Well, that's not true.
How healthy can he be?
He passed his medicals. He was cleared fully before he did his.
Oh, he was cleared and he ran, but you don't know if it's what the MRI looks like. You don't know any of the things about the chance of re-injury. That stuff only the teams get.
Teams seem pretty confident, but that's my
coming from a guy with a ripped ACL.
Hey,
he's like,
I don't want to hear it. It's not my fault. I don't have immediate access to recovery and surgeries like they do. This is a different situation.
But Chris, honestly, at 21, if he's there, I would heavily consider it. Yeah. It just depends again how it falls. Trayvon Walker's a risk. Even Aiden Hutchinson with 32 and 3/8 inch arms is a risk. Like, yes, they're good players, but there's more risk in this than it was like a slam dunk a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? Like this class has some talent, but it has some questions with that talent.
Oh, every single player, every single one.
Yep. Like there's no slam dunk in this draft at all. Like there's not one player that I'm just like 100% he's going to be the guy that I think he is.
Exactly. Like I was talking about, like, I don't think there's many, if any, blue chip prospects in this draft. I don't think there's any. Like if I had to take a guess, there's maybe 2, or I'll say there's maybe 2, but that's like as far as I'll go.
Yeah, okay, then you're going to save that because you're going to do another video on who your blue chippers are. Folks, watch for that coming later in the week. Sam, Ryan, Dan, love your vids. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you think we'll shore up CB and Edge before the draft so that we can have our ducks in a row, or wait until after the draft? I have a feeling like one of the vets could come in at CB. I don't think there's much edge to be had out there. If it does happen, especially if it's a trade like the Bears scenario and all this stuff, like I think that happens during draft night. Like at the last possible minute is my thought.
That's Brett Veach, man. That's what he wants to do. He wants to wait till everyone's like asleep about it. And then he's like, gotcha.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because like I'm all for trading up. If you find a guy that you need to have and he can help you. Here's the thing is, unlike the Saints are telling everyone who will listen that isn't another NFL GM that they're not going to package these picks to go up. Bullshit. But I will say this for the Chiefs, it doesn't make sense to do it earlier because you're telegraphing. Like, wait till draft night, get somebody on the hook that their guy got taken earlier, whatever. Like, try to squeeze every team you can to like make that move
Yeah.
Out of the ordinary. I'm sorry for those listening at home. I had to sneeze. Nicholas, it feels like Veach's drafts have gotten better every year. How much do you feel like that is luck versus Veach, and how much is team improving at identifying talent? It's not so much identifying talent. It's not falling in love. Like, everyone has talent. Even Breland Speaks had talent, but you fell in love with him. Like, the one thing that he was really good at, you let override your evaluation. It's not like he was devoid of talent. It's not like CH is devoid of talent. He's just not what you thought he was in terms of the one thing that made you say, I got to have him at 32. You disagree, though.
No, like, the funny thing is, like, you talk, they do this with players. They draft them and they don't use them properly. Like, they drafted Breland Speaks and said, we're going to make you a stand-up rusher.
Huh?
What? Did anybody else watch his tape?
Like, on purpose?
And then they did the same thing with Chris Connolly. We know you're a really, really good vertical player downfield. You're going to be a possession guy. Clyde, we know you have a great fielding skills out of the backfield, and you can really do some things with inside zone in between the tackles where we don't force you to play outside zone and turn your shoulders. But guess what? We're going to make you do everything you're not good at.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
It's frustrating. And unfortunately, it's not his normal MO for Andy to say, okay, you squeeze into my offense. He's usually so creative that he's able to adapt to his talent. And it just didn't happen with Chris. Like, and I feel like there's a couple other players that maybe it's just not happening to enough.
Yeah.
I hope that trend doesn't continue, but also, players got to grow as well. So I see that aspect of it as well.
Definitely.
Bradley, how much draft capital are you comfortable with the Chiefs trading away to move up and get guys they want? I am comfortable with them losing a draft pick in the top 120, meaning the fourths as well. Like, so net, you lose a pick. That's one trade up where you give up an extra pick. Beyond that, I'm not okay with that. There's so much. Chris and I went through it. We found 14 spots that they can give a rate of rookies today. It's on today's Locked On Chiefs. You guys check that out. Like, I know 12 is a lot, but there's literally competitive spots for that many guys to make this roster if you can select them. I would like to see them honestly move back out of 30 and bring up those sevenths, like, and get everybody in that range of like 29 to 120. That's my goal. I'd like 12 picks in that range. Make that happen, Brett. I appreciate it. Yeah, he could care less.
Yeah, right. He don't care.
Derek, what's your thoughts on Justin Ross? I know injuries have hindered him, but his freshman year wasn't a fluke. That's the thing. It's again with the medical. Like, I'm comfortable with him in the fourth. Yeah,
his medicals are worse because he had like spinal fusion surgery.
Yeah,
he had to get his back fused. That's and when you look at his,
are you all out on him?
Day 3. That's it. Like you said, fourth maybe, but
yeah.
I don't know if he'll ever be able to do anything he used to be able to do. He did not look even remotely close to the player, and he played all the games this year. He played all of them.
Yeah. He did have a slight quarterback issue. I'm just going to say
he did. No, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. The offense was bad as soon as Trevor Lawrence left. They had quarterback issues, but he doesn't look the same. And he looks like a dude that's like DeMarcus Robinson right now. That's what he looks like to me.
Oof. Let's hope that he can continue to recover.
Yeah.
I will say it this way. He could be this year's Trey Smith, where you're super happy if it pans out, and if it didn't, you lost a day 3 pick.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Certainly worth the effort if he checks out on medicals and you feel comfortable. Derek, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate the support.
Thank you very much,
folks.
Derek.
You can always get gear at the RGR store as well. The Reaper stuff is still there. I think the Reaper is going to be back, so I'm leaving it up there. So if you guys want to like will that back into existence, go get that. Julian, thoughts on Amari Barno, Virginia Tech, the explosive guy that's nearly as fast as wide receivers, but he's like 240 pounds. Versatile edge with a hand in the dirt. He ran 4.3. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The question is, he doesn't hold up at the point of attack very well. He doesn't do anything power related super well. I saw sparks of converting speed to power, but it was terribly inconsistent. So he, for me, is another day 3 guy. Dan, did I miss something, or where do you like him?
I don't think
Or
so.
do you?
That makes perfect sense. He's like a D Ford kind of player, like right now. Like that's what he is in terms of speed, get off hand in the dirt. He can do all that stuff. He's going to want a corner. That's what he's going to want to do in the NFL. He's not going to want to come across your face very much. It's not what he's got built in. But if you can develop that, you can put maybe 10, 15 pounds of muscle on him, start to teach him how to convert that speed to power. If you could teach him how to do that, that's when you can take a day 3 player and get a legitimate contributor, because then you can trust him to do a little bit more on maybe first and second down, but also have more in the toolbox for that third down pass rush specialist, which the Chiefs could really use a third down pass rush guy.
See, that's where I'm coming from too. Just because you're a power end team doesn't mean you can't have speed rushers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that's a nice supplement, especially you move Frank down inside next to Chris. We've seen Frank rush against guards and destroy them. And why not have a super speed guy at a wide 9 coming off a burning edge?
I don't know. It makes perfect sense to me.
Spags, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Let's
talk this out.
Come on, bro. Okie dokie. Thank you for your support. We appreciate the super chat. Not much Malik Herring talk. Nope, not yet. Injured, a drafted player that was already injured when he was drafted last year. How does he fit into the draft strategy, and does it undermine Ajabo? No, it doesn't undermine Ajabo at all, because Ajabo's film was better than Herring's was. That's just a fact. But what we don't know is, because he's not been active, we haven't seen him, we haven't heard from him, we don't know anything. He's a total mystery, as much as he was in camp last year. Yep. But I will say this. I saw upside on his film. I saw flashes that he could play in this defense when he was at Georgia. And remember, he was on the leading edge of this monstrous team they had this year. He was a heavy contributor. So, he kept those young guys at bay enough to stay on the field. So I do think he has upside. It's just the recovery factor. We won't know until we know, Okie. But I don't think it has any concept on Ajabo. I still won't be shocked if they stay put and they can't get trade partners. If they take a player that can start for them at 29, they could still take Ajabo at 30, and I will not be surprised.
Yeah, that's why I've been saying, if they make a move at defensive end with either Jadeveon Clowney or bringing back Ingram, I think that suggests that they're very comfortable taking David Ajabo and waiting it out, especially if they have faith that Malik Herring, Joshua Kando can help give you something this year and let you wait it out.
Agreed. Doug, unfortunately, the guide is not out yet. I'll get it out this week as soon as I can. I'm aiming for Wednesday, but it is more complex this year. Not only do we have all the production metrics that I do custom, not only do we have the athletic matrix, we have our draft grades that Dan and I have been slaving away on. And I'm just going to rank them out. I'm going to make it as simple as possible. We have our draft grades. We're going to give you ranks on those. We're going to give you ranks on the matrix, ranks on production. It all goes together, and we'll have our final ranks. And then Dan and I will put our boards out and our personal rankings on the new Substack as soon as I build that, as soon as I get the guide out. So, good Lord. And good evening, Rogue Nation. Chiefs comments. If you had to bet, based on your rankings, who is the one player that is certain will get overdrafted and one that will be underdrafted?
All right.
Trevor Penning's going to be overdrafted because Trevor Penning is not a first-round grade.
No. The dude, I saw a perfect tweet today. The guy has first-round measurables and a ton of day 3 tape. That's exactly what he is. The dude is one of the biggest wild cards in this draft. He's got everything you could want from an athletic standpoint and the build, but he just doesn't show up. Like, maybe a good 65% of the time. And that's not something I feel comfortable with at all. And Christian Watson.
Remember the bully in The Sandlot? Yeah, you're probably right there. I think he's the bully from The Sandlot. He's super nasty. He impresses all the coaches with the little details that he finishes plays. The problem is he's not finishing plays against anybody who's going to be playing in the league. And he's got mediocre, maybe gets a second contract type film. That's just the way that it is. Yep. Christian Watson, if he goes at 50, will you consider that an overdraft?
I still do. But at that point, you're still betting on traits. Like, he's another one of those guys that has all the athletic required, but he has day 3 tape.
Mm-hmm.
He does. He has a 28% drop percentage in his career. 28%. I thought
it was 12.8.
No, I thought it was 28. Someone was talking about 28.
Oh, I thought it was 12.8. I'm going to have to go recalculate that. I got that on the guide there. Dang it. Okay, or look at that, and I'll answer Julian's. How are you, Julian? Thoughts on drafting Kyler Gordon, Devontae Wyatt, and Ebiketie with the first 4 picks? I can get down with that. Wyatt is the best player of those 3 for me. Gordon Ebiketie would be very close on my board, and I'm comfortable with either of them at 50. I just don't buy first round for either of them, to tell you the truth. Ebiketie's got a lot of upside. He's got the physicality. He just doesn't know what he's doing yet. His hands are not active enough for me to spend a first round grade on him.
Not even just that. Like he wrong shoulders run defense all the time. He takes his outside shoulder and runs
his back to the ball carrier. You can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't do it. And he just does it all the time. Drives me insane.
He's watching too much Frank Clark is what he's doing. But yeah, at 50, that's a reasonable investment. At 64 or 62, it's even better.
Yeah.
But yes, I like Gordon. I'll tell you what, too, like all the draft boards have Kobe Bryant as a deep 5th round pick, and that's ridiculous. I can see Kobe Bryant going in the 3rd very, very easily. And I wouldn't mind it one bit. Red Hood, hope you're doing well. I've heard you say that you think the quarterback Booth may slip down into the 2nd round. If you guys were running things, would you trade up in the 2nd for Booth or stay and get Pickens? Depends what 29 was. If whatever position, if 29 is a defensive player, I'd stay and take Pickens. If 29 is an offensive player, I'd move around. But I will tell you this. I think you should be able to get Booth easily at 29. I think he could slip. He's going to be my CB2, but I think the league is way more concerned. No, I know. Like you and I think see it pretty similar. Where do you have him?
He's my 3, but
he's
yeah,
okay. He's very close to becoming my 2. I just haven't had a chance to watch CBs for a couple of weeks, so I need to get back to it. But I think the league is more concerned about being good at everything, but not good enough at any one thing. So I keep hearing these rumors that like maybe they're not willing to make a first round investment in him.
So that's where it makes no sense, by the way, because they're willing to draft Trayvon Walker, who doesn't know how to rush the passer with his athletic upside, but Andrew Booth has all the athletic upside. We don't really know. Okay.
It's the volatility of the cornerback position, man. I think the teams are just more scared of it. I don't know why. He's clearly a top 3 to me. Like he might bump Derek Stingley out of the top 3 for me.
No, he just bumped Trent McDuffie out. Like that's what he did for me.
It's
just a little bit.
Trent's great.
Yeah, that's still the reason he's down there. If he had longer arms, he'd probably be quarterback 1. Like that's no joke.
And you guys know me. I love a Jimmy Lake UW CB, but it's difficult. Thank you guys, dude. Would you be angry with Pickens at 30 if most of the receivers are off the board and we pick up a solid edge at 29? Angry? No. I mean, I'm not going to be angry at all. I might be confused because let's be honest. The guy returned from an ACL and still didn't get but 9 targets in 2021. That tells me that he's either not fully recovered, there's been some hitch in his giddy up, or they didn't trust him. Either way, that's an issue for me. So 2nd round, I'm fine, but I don't think I can pull the trigger in the 1st.
No, I would just be asking, why didn't you trade back? If you're going to take Pickens at 30, I mean, I know that there's talk that he could go to the Packers, but like I think that more is about smoke, them trying to get someone else. They're off their scent to get Chris Olave. Honestly, I think they're trying to chase the next Devontae Adams, and that would be, in my opinion, Chris Olave. Like I think that in terms of their mind, like people have the Chiefs trading up for Javonte or for Jameson Williams to chase the next Tyreek Hill. This would be the Packers trying to chase the next Devontae Adams and get Olave. But I would say if they went and got Pickens at 30 and said, just trade back.
Yeah. Like I could see them going back to 38 or 40 or somewhere around
somewhere in there
and getting something done.
Yeah.
Jacob, kind of like we were saying before, I don't think Watson's a first round grade. I don't think Dan does either. And I think he might go in the 1st.
Yeah, let's go see what we got. just to do.
And we're back to drop percentage, folks.
It is 20. It's 20. It is 12.7. You were right. It is 12.7. But that's still by far the most of this entire draft class. And the wide receiver, it's a bunch. But I was going to just try to find one more person here.
And if you guys are asking, well, what does that mean amongst everything else and his athleticism, all that? That's what's built into the draft guide.
Yeah.
So I have 5 core metrics for every position. Drop percentage is one of them for the wide receivers. So that gets mixed into their production grade, which then gets mixed in with their athleticism grade and their film grade. And you guys will see all that when the guide's done.
And any quarterback that goes in the first round is overdrafted. Period.
I love it. Should we go edge or wide receiver or CB at 28 and 30? James, it'll just
yes, and yes.
Yeah, any of the above or all of the above. Just depends who falls where. Because like there are some like McDuffie that does not meet the Chiefs minimums.
Yeah.
I like the player. I could even see it at 30, but I don't think the Chiefs will. So I like Booth. We're not gonna get into that argument.
So much.
But James, we could see it go any way of those three. If they do something else, like a D tackle or something, it has to be someone special.
Yes, it does.
Like Devontae Wyatt should have fallen or something if that becomes the pick there. Other than that, I think it will be those three positions. If they choose a tackle, I'll scream.
I'll lose it on the stream, guys. I will lose it. I promise you right now, if you're watching, because I'm going to be hosting it. If they pick a tackle, I will lose it for you guys. I'll have something that I can throw, like a foam something that I can pick up and just throw across the room.
I will be on TV and they will have to cut away from my face. I've told them already, do not single me up on camera when the Chiefs are selecting because I cannot hide very well. So you should, oh man. Yeah. This is going to be the first year, by the way, that my children have not watched the Chiefs first pick with me. So it will be kind of a sad occasion. Should the Chiefs trade for Deebo Samuel, who just turned 26 in January, will need to give a new contract? No. And there's no way the Niners would let him go. He is their offense at this point.
Yeah. He's too much of like they don't even need a running back or a wide receiver. They have a guy who could do both for them. And he's proving his worth on that team. Like if they got rid of him, guess what? They'd have to like change their offense up a bit. They'd have to actually use more real running backs.
Here it comes.
What?
The Kyle Shanahan slander. I'm ready.
No, there's no. I'm
supportive
of Kyle Shanahan.
Okay. I thought you were going there.
I think he's an excellent offensive coordinator, and it stops there.
Okay, rock on. I was ready to support you. I thought you were going to go for the jugular there on that one. That's awesome.
I mean, I kind of did. I just said he wasn't a head coach. I just said he's an excellent offensive coordinator. I don't think he's.
Well, see, when you say it like that, now you ruined all the intrigue. Thank you, Doug. Mihu, why don't the Chiefs give Fountain or Powell a chance? They have. They're still on the roster. They are still employed. That's a chance.
Powell's a 5th-round pick last year. I know. I did you guys a disservice, okay? I did. I did you a disservice. I apologize for it. This is my fault. But when you have a 5th-round pick, he was a rookie last year. And honestly, the wide receiver room was stacked full of guys who understood the offense. He didn't know the offense. And again, he played 6 games like his senior year, like pretty much in his entire career. He played 6 games at Clemson. He was good in those 6 games. Mm-hmm. But you have to grow as a player. I think he's got upside in this offense. I think right now he could be a Byron Pringle next year, like what he did. I think that would be very valuable to this team. But again, we have to see development in the area. You have to see he's working with Patrick Mahomes. That's a good sign. That's a good thumbs up. He's down there with him, working with him. So yeah, we have to see the development. They have to see the development, and hopefully he makes the roster this year.
I hope so too. I'm pulling for him. And Fountain is very much the same. A lot of athletic ability, hasn't quite put it together. I think he showed some flashes. Yeah. They're going to keep giving him chances. I think, with Marcus Kemp not being back yet, I think Darius Fountain has the chance to become the next Marcus Kemp and be the 6th wide receiver.
Yep.
I like his upside there. Julian, hypothetically trading for Deebo Samuel, he would take a 1st and probably a 4th at a very minimum. Like I said, like they won't give him up, but if they ever were, they're going to make sure they get compensated for it.
Yep.
Chiefs comments: draft season has become a bit of an echo chamber. Who is the one player you think KC will take that you have not talked about or heard anyone else talk about? See, now we save that. See, that's how we engage you on the draft content on draft night. But I will tell you, I've told you guys about most of the guys that I think are very good fits. I'm trying to think if there's anybody I can give away before the final. There's a day 2/day 3 guy in Abraham Lucas that I haven't talked about much that I think would be a good swing tackle option. You don't like him?
No, you've talked about him just about every live stream we've done.
Oh, have I? Okay. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'm not hiding him very well. Never mind.
There's a guy that I do have one. I have
Okay,
one.
go.
Luke Goedecki is
Gadecki.
however you say his last name, is where is his he plays at Central Michigan
Yep.
and
Opposite Ryman.
opposite Ryman. And I think he has legit swing tackle upside. I know he has shorter
Yeah.
arms. I think he can really play tackle. The problem is going to be the shorter arms. Like that's going to be a problem, but we've seen some extent it work. He's a guy that I could see the Chiefs taking later and maybe sliding in as a backup to Andrew Wiley, but also as a backup along the interior, like behind Trey Smith, for example. You don't really have a backup there, but if you give yourself flexibility at right tackle and right guard with a guy like Gadecki, you got something there. So that's a guy that I think could be in the Chiefs' wheelhouse.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like him better at guard, but he can certainly do it in a pinch. We saw Joe Tooney do it. I'm not trying to say Gadecki is Joe Tooney, folks. I'm just saying
no.
There's a example from last year in this offense with the guy with shorter arms was able to move his feet well enough to stay in front of pass rushers.
Correct.
Official Jeremy, why don't they just focus on defense in the first round and get some good wide receivers right now? We need some young guys on defense. Debo would just cost too much. I agree that they're not going to do that. But the reason you don't just concentrate on defense in the first round is because if you have an offensive player with a better grade, he's a better player. You got to take that best player. Because if you put your blinders on and you ignore wide receiver talent, tackle talent, like you're going to end up hurting yourself in the long run if you're not got your head on a swivel. You got to trust your evaluations. Smack the like. I like that. Like smack the like. All right. Oh, gently.
Gently.
Yes, thank you, Doug. That's a whole different scenario. Chris Weeks, hope you're doing well. How far do you think MyJ rises up after he put the weight back on? Could he still get him in the third? Here's the thing. He's only falling or rising in the media. The teams didn't move him. The teams talked to him that week, and he's like, hey, I'm sick. This is what happened. They're all aware of it. So he's exactly wherever the heck he was before for the teams. And I do still think that it's somewhere between 50 and 90.
Yeah, I think I've got him pegged as an early third, like right there. So if the Chiefs were to get him at 64, okay. All right.
You could do worse.
It could definitely be worse.
And here's the thing is I do like that scenario only because if it does become a panic point, like I just watched him put, who was it? Oh, yeah, everybody's favorite love child at the O tackle position, Tyler Smith. I just saw MyJ put him on his butt like 4 different times in, I think it was 2021. I can't remember. The film's all running together for me. But like, he's still got a lot of spark there. For a guy who's lighter, he plays stronger, and I appreciate that.
The speed to power is evident in his game.
Yeah. James, is it wide to trade up for an injured player like Jameson Williams, even though he's coming off an ACL? How do you feel, Dan?
So, I mean, you really have to weigh the sides. It's like if Jameson Williams, this is much like the David Ojabo conundrum. If Jameson Williams or David Ojabo come back from their injuries and they're a star and you didn't get them, or granted, Jameson Williams, you're going to have to trade up to go get like quite a bit. Like, so you have to weigh, is getting him with both of your first round picks gone worth the risk? Because it is a risk. Regardless, it's a risk. Wise? No, but teams don't play wise. They play potential. They play, this guy can be a star in the NFL, and I'm willing to bet 2 low-level first-round picks on it, possibly. I think David Ojabo has the same type of superstar type of potential. Like, he has everything to be a top 5 edge player in the NFL. Like, legit.
Yeah.
So, yes, I would be okay taking a risk on that if he's not going to, even if he's not playing at all in the first year.
It's funny. Everybody likes to relate the draft to roulette.
Yeah.
It's not roulette.
Nope.
It's not really Texas Hold'em because you're not sharing traits other than the film. It's more like blackjack. Like you're choosing to hit on a 16. You kind of need to if you want to win, but it is definitely taking a risk. And that's what it comes down to. Who's the gamblers in this league? Brett Veach is known to gamble.
He's a pretty large gambler.
Now, if you're playing the Omaha draw, like that's a whole different game. You see what I'm saying? And more picks, the better in that particular scenario for those of you who are poker fiends. Herbie TLP, I hope you're watching. Trade up and get a top 3 edge rusher or a top 3 wide receiver. Again, if you trade up to 11, it depends on who's on your board because you have a chance of getting one of the top 3 edges. It's unlikely, in my opinion. It's less than 50%, but it could be there. But 4 right now for me is Johnson. And at 11, I can live with that. Is Johnson better than Jameson? Is Johnson better than Olave? Like, it depends. It all depends on where your grade is. If you're there, you're probably going up for a reason because you have a guy that isn't tied with someone, that isn't close. Like, you have a target in that kind of trade up is my thought.
Yep, I agree with you.
Yeah, okay. Rock Chop. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate you. Hey, it's good to be a champ, isn't it? Even if I haven't been at school in a few years, let's put it. Tevin, thank you for the support. We appreciate you. This draft will show us everything we need to know about where we are moving forward. Reeds, stay true to being aggressive and adding on offense when the D needs help. Jones is a no, but could Turk move to D end? I feel like they would have if they could have, especially when they move Chris back inside.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he puts it together. Let's remember, Missouri Western is a long, long, long way away from the NFL. And he made that leap and he had success early. And then it kind of started to catch up with him once people got film on him. Now he has a chance to take another leap. This is usually the year where you see D tackles move forward. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that makes sense. I would like to see him at defensive end because the frame and the athleticism and speed's there, but they clearly see that as more of a penetration type of defensive tackle.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Tevin. Appreciate you. And thank you for the support. Much, as we do, Ethan, as well. Thank you for the support. I will look for another comment from you. I want to make sure we get you guys something when you help us out. 604, Mr. Dean. Do you think the Saints made the trade up in the hope to take J-Mo at 16 or 19? No, I do not. That's a quarterback move, period.
Yeah. But then again, I could see them sticking with Jameis. I really could.
I could too, especially if their guy goes. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You don't move around the first round unless you got a quarterback in mind. Especially like, I don't think they're that hurting for wide receiver. Am I wrong?
Oh, they definitely are. It's bad.
Yeah, like hurting, or just they need some help.
No, they're desperate. Okay. They have outside of Mr. Slant Boy over there. They got nobody. No, Cooks is a Texan.
Oh, see, I keep forgetting these things because I couldn't care less. Anyway, do the Chiefs expect Willie Gary to contribute? No, they're hopeful, but expectation, I doubt it. I don't. Maybe the Chiefs know something I don't. And by the way, love the avatar. I like a Jayhawk in anything. Thoughts on taking Andrew Booth or Kyler Gordon, and would you be opposed to drafting both? The only opposition is if they took them both in the first round.
Yeah.
They took one in the first and one in the second. I can live with that.
Yeah. Give me Booth. I mean, for sure in the first. I'll take him all day. And in the first. And Gordon is I like Gordon a lot, but again, we're talking about the short arms. It's a
not
big
as drastic
thing.
as McDuffie, but
no, but everybody. I think that there's a certain point under 31-inch arms. I think is going to be a tick against in any corner in this draft, and it's a lot of corners in this draft class. A lot of them.
Yeah, and I will tell you this: I know that the Chiefs have a threshold. It used to be 31 when Doris was there.
Yep.
I don't know if they've relaxed that a little bit because I want to say Fenton came in under that, but I'm not.
Fenton is the only one that is. But he's a 6th-round pick.
Right. Yeah, fair enough. So that's fair. So, Julian, yeah, it just depends on those selections. But, yeah, I could see that. And, again, Kobe Bryant isn't the longest guy. I think he's just over 31, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But, again, a player that I think you can get the third and be really happy with. Bill, thank you for the support. I think we need to double dip at CB, wide receiver, and edge. And I think it's a good draft for all 3 spots. Where's the sweet spot to pick that range for each depth-wise? Edges up top, in my opinion. Got to get those guys in the top 50.
Yep.
Wide receiver, I think you can find some gems later.
You can.
Like, I will love Khalil Shakir in this offense.
I know
I'll
you
tell
do.
You that right now.
I know you do.
Not the biggest guy. And I might be alone. You don't like him. I know. Fine.
It's not that I don't like
love
him.
him.
I think he's fine. I think he's fine.
You're just like,
I love
whatever.
Jalen Tolbert. Like, I
But
love Jalen
CB's, I
Tolbert.
think, yeah, okay. See, and I'm exactly the opposite of him. I'm
Yeah.
just like, hey, he's good. Yeah, impressed me.
Yeah.
CB's where he gets dangerous, I think, because I think people are going to be tempted to take Tariq Woolen on day 2, and they shouldn't. They're going to be tempted to take Zion McCollum on day 2, and they shouldn't. But I like both those guys on day 3. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be optimistic, man.
I know.
But if the Chiefs, if they fell and the Chiefs took those guys with their 4th round picks, I'd be happy as a clam.
Yep. I do think that the 3rd round is going to be some spots for depth at all 3 of those positions. The 3rd round is probably where you're going to get them, and then it's a drop off in terms of real depth.
I agree. Okay, we are starting to get behind, folks. So we're going to start speeding up, and I'm grabbing all the super chats now. Super chatters, you will definitely get answered tonight, guaranteed. Now, and see, Dan, you must have told me that. Yeah, you should speed up. About 3 minutes ago, Dan said, "Hey, you're slacking." Okay, I'm with you. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate you, Jason. Thank you for the content. I appreciate that. I was wondering if you think Brett Feet drafts a corner before day 3. Again, it would be value, and I think there is an opportunity this year. Do you?
Yes, I think this is the year he has to, and I think he knows he has to with the picks that they have in the first 2 days.
Yeah. Fork tongue, do you really trust anyone from the Georgia defense? So many prospects from one team tells me more about a team defense than individuals. That's fair. For example, Jermaine Johnson got 11 sacks. Who else was on that D? Exactly. But at the same time, they had to go concentrate on Jermaine Johnson because he was the only real threat there. Yes, it spreads out in terms of double teams, et cetera, et cetera. But I have no qualms because any given day that Georgia defense, somebody else would step up. It wasn't like it was the same guys always doing all the work. I felt it was pretty evenly distributed, Dan. Am I wrong?
I think Georgia's defense is extremely versatile. They also don't ask a lot of their players in terms like Trayvon Walker was pretty much asked to not pass rush. Pretty much like he was asked to not pass rush, be an inside guy, and that's what they did. Same with Jordan Davis, a guy who I think can be a legitimate pass rushing, a defensive tackle. They said, no, you 2 gap, and that's pretty much what you're going to do. They have these guys.
Devontae's going to rush.
Yeah, like they have specialized tasks for their defense, so they can get the most out of them. But these players are all legit high-end guys, so I got no issues.
By the way, folks, you still get to watch the best Georgia prospect on the defensive front. He's going to be playing next year. His name's Carter. I've been doing some draft simulations, and watching 11th pick makes a lot of sense. I've done that as well. If Jameson is there, do you take him or would take the best edge available? If it's one of the top 4 edges, I would take them over Jameson Williams because there's better wide receiver talent later in the draft for me.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. Harlan, hope you're doing well. I've heard about a lot about us possibly trading for Scary Terry from the Redskins. If Wash is dumb enough to trade him for a 3rd, I'm jumping for a joy. Yeah, that's a great value for the Chiefs if they got him for a 3rd. But where are you going to fit him in? Juju needs to run a lot of routes out of the slot. McCole has to run a lot of routes out of the slot. Terry runs a lot of routes out of the slot. Like that feels like it's just too congested unless you feel Juju can play outside predominantly. And I'm not sure I feel that way. Do you, Dan?
No, I think McLaurin can play the outside predominantly.
Yeah. What did he get? 60% outside last year?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, like it was pretty heavy dosage inside on the slot. That's my only concern, Harlan. So, yeah, I mean, if you're just talking about get a great player when you can get him, sure, sold. 3rd, that's great value in my opinion.
Yep.
What receiver do you think the Green Bay is targeting in the draft, and how could it affect the Chiefs? I mean, I don't know that they're targeting a guy, but in terms of like the Olave thing, I like because he could do a little bit of everything. I think they like somebody a little bit more physical. I mocked them, Drake London, the other day because for the Locked On NFL Draft Show, I got to do the whole league. And I thought that was a pretty good fit in terms of like just being able to put it up there and get a completion like they used to be able to do with Devontae.
Yeah, I get that. It makes a lot of sense. And I think that London's going to be falling in this draft, to be honest with you. I know that he's been projected like around 10 to the Jets a lot. And I think that's going to flop. And I think that Jameson's going to go there. And I think that Drake's going to fall.
Yeah, that could be true. Drake runs his pro day on Friday, guys.
Yeah.
So we'll have something after that. If there's anything to react to, if he's just ho hum, it is what it is. Darius, thank you for the support. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Have you seen the tape of Mario Goodrich? Just a touch. He's my nephew, and he played opposite Booth at Clemson. Would love to see him in red, but I'm biased. Hey, I like
That's
family
awesome.
connections, man. I am happy to see that too. And I'll tell you this: I will rewatch him with a little more eye now, because I think it actually makes guys better when they play with a star, because
Correct.
they get more of the targets.
Yep.
So there's more opportunity to develop there. So congratulations. He's going to be a pro.
Yep.
And I hope you get your weigh-ins up in Kansas City.
That'd be nice.
But Darius, I'll try to watch him here soon as well. St. Paul Chief, thank you for the support. Trading 29 and 30 theoretically get you close to 10. How likely is it someone at 10 would want to move that far back? It's very, very unlikely. That's why I keep saying, like, I think 15 is about the max.
Yep.
And that's only because it's another team with 2 picks. For the Jets, they could trade back and get value, because they need a lot of holes filled, right? But I can't see them going all the way back to 29.
Yep.
If they did, they've done something wrong again.
Yeah.
Des, thank you. Do you think it's worth 29, 50, and a 7th to go up to the 15 to 20 range? 29 and 50? That's tough for me, no, because you're not getting a top 10 prospect.
No.
I could do 29 and 62 and feel okay about that.
Yeah, I feel okay about it.
I'd rather do 94.
Yeah, like just try to squeeze the little ones. Like, you get a third, okay, I'm okay with that. But I don't want both the first and a second to go get somebody. I'm just like, I don't know about that.
I'm with you. Thank you, Des. Appreciate you. Both you guys thoughts of the Chiefs' record at the end of the regular season. Ooh, a little quick prediction. Good idea, Julian. What do you got, Dan?
That's an extra game, right? So it's now like 12-5, stuff like that, right?
Right.
So that works okay. All right. So yeah, I think 12-5 is where I'm going to end up, like, right now.
Okay. I'm going to call this a down year and say 11-6, but they still make the playoffs and they still get to the AFC Championship game. That's where I'm at right now.
That'd be crazy.
Now, post-draft, we'll talk again. Hey, you never know. Mahomes or bust. You get him into the playoffs. That show, you never know. James, do you think the Chiefs will draft any of the University of Cincinnati players? I think so. There's at least 5 legit targets on that roster, in my opinion. And if I know Brett Veach, Andy Reid appreciates winning. Brett Veach appreciates winning. There's going to be a Cincinnati player, there's going to be a Georgia player, and there's going to be an Alabama player that they like.
Yep.
The Michigan guys, it's less, because it's the top 3, and then it's kind of there's just not the volume of Michigan crew. So we will see. But yes, I think there's a very good likelihood. Brian Scott, I think, is a great fit. Or is that Cook? Brian Cook. Sorry, wrong Brian. And then Kobe Bryant, I think, is a great fit. Like, I think those guys could easily be available when the Chiefs need them. Is Dotson a better choice at 29 or 30 than trading up for Williams? It's tough. He's not the blazer. He's more of an all-around. He and Olave, to me, are the all-around dudes you can plug in, and they will help you move the ball. Jameson will rip a defense apart.
Like I've said, Jameson Williams is the one thing in this draft class you can't teach: extreme suddenness. The dude's on you in a blink of an eye, and there is nobody in this class that has that impact. Dotson has speed, but for me, if you have McCole Hardman, you have Juju. What are you doing with Dotson? He's not playing, and you're gonna spend a first round
there's too
pick
much
on him?
similarity there.
Yeah, he's not playing.
Holly, way to go out on a limb there, lady.
Yeah, right? She's like, hey.
So Miss Holly is now relocated to Vegas and is setting lines, as you can tell. I like it. Over under 1.5 Bearcats to the Chiefs. Yeah, I think I'll take the under 2. I think they might scratch it off their list and be done, unless it just falls into their lap. Yeah. Dean, thank you again. I'm hoping Ingram signs at the end of training camp. He knows the playbook. Need to bring in Gilmore post-draft, though. He needs to learn the system. I mean, Gilmore will learn it in a heartbeat.
I was about to say, he played in a more complex system with Bill Belichick. I don't think he needs to learn it.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all if it does go that long. James Cook, 4th round, Gold Tau. We agree with you in principle. This might be a little rich. You got to see what else you get done, because it's still a running back. I think he's a 4th round grade. I like that. I could even see him sneaking into the 3rd in terms of grade. But for this roster with Clyde on it, I don't know, bro.
And they just brought in Rojo. Like, I just don't see it. I don't see it, guys.
I'll take Ford in the 5th and be a happy dude.
Yep. Yeah, very happy.
I think he's gonna last pretty good. In
Let's
theory,
hope so.
I like trading back with 30, and maybe the 5th year rookie scale is worth staying put. Yeah, possibly. It depends what you're getting there. If you're getting an edge, yeah, 5th year.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not a quarterback, the edge would be the next thing. Thanks, Paul. Jared, 2 players that I like and think are underrated are Sam Williams and Kyler Gordon. I also think the Chiefs won't be interested in them. Sam's okay. I just don't see anything dominant about him. I see him as a solid player. Maybe he's got upside. Maybe this stuff that was distraction for him in college, maybe once that's gone, he can actually push to his potential. I don't know.
Maybe. I'll find out on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. So Dan's doing Sam for Wednesday's film room, folks. Don't miss it. Kenneth, thank you for the support. Could you see or use drafting Cam Thomas in the 1st round with Dax Hill, and how would you feel about it? It's a little rich. It's just a little rich for me. I like Cam. I like him a lot. I'd rather see them move back to 40 and take him because I think they can. But
Yeah,
the only thing for me, 45 he could go is my only problem, because like at 50 he could go before that is the only deal for me.
I think he will. I would be a little underwhelmed with that. When you bring, if they hadn't brought Reed in, I'd be like, okay, I can get Hill. I'm on board. But right now with Thomas in the 1st and Daxton Hill, who might just be a slot corner in the NFL.
Yeah. And that's certainly the way I think he's going to start.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Folks, everybody give Aaron a hand in the chat. He's doing a great job. And Aaron, if I missed something,
stuff in there.
I was going to say, I see exclamation points and stuff. If I missed something and I need to jump into it, you let me know, please. Thank you, Kenneth. Low lip, all your epigenetic inserts are coachable things. Yes, for the most part. Recognition, execution. He's got the physical tools. So, yeah. I would agree with that for the most part.
Yep. I am right there.
Let's see. Doug. Clicked it too many times. I agree with you. Give me as many picks in the draft in the 30 to 125 category. Yeah, I mean, that's what it comes down to. There's a lot of holes, you guys. A lot of holes. And rookies are way cheaper than even like veterans. Yeah. Am I the only person who thinks DT Travis Jones is a reach in the 1st round? No. I have him in the 2nd. Low 2nd, I think, actually.
Yeah, I'm right there.
But I do like what he brings, and I would love to see him in this defense, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, he's a masher. So I love that
guy. I could live with 50. I'd love it at 62.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chase. Bill, thank you. From an evaluation standpoint, how can you tell when a player with physical disadvantage like short arms is the exception, like Slater, and not the rule?
It's a good question.
That's where it comes into, especially when you're talking about corners. It's about ball production. So what do you do with those arms? How many passes do you deny, whether it's just PBUs or whether it's interceptions? Like how much do you miss tackles? That's a big thing with shorter armed corners. So that's what I look at. Do you have like a missing link that you're looking for?
Yes. What part of your game is elite? Like top level stuff. Like if you have something that's holding you back from being able to reach that status, what do you do to make up for that? And for a guy like McDuffie, he's the smartest corner in this class. He's probably smarter than corners in the NFL already. That dude he knows what's coming. So he uses that to his advantage and sees things coming. So he's going to get taken and hopefully beat a corner in the NFL, even with those short arms. But you have to have something in your game that brings you above that level that you're missing with the detriment to yourself already.
Yeah. And unfortunately for McDuffie, I think he can play both, but I think to be as much as he can be, he needs to be in a scheme that plays zone more than 50%.
Yeah.
And while I think Spags has been drifting towards playing more zone, I don't think it's to that point yet. So that's going to be a big ask, Bill. Hi.
Say hi.
Doing good?
Hi.
She's famous. I like it.
Go Chiefs.
Drunken German, welcome to the memberships. It's too bad that kid ain't cute, man. I hate to tell you.
He said, too bad that kid ain't cute.
Bye.
They said bye, Avery. Good night.
Night.
Bye.
Drunken German, welcome to the memberships. Thank you. If you want in the Discord, send me an email and I will get you set up, buddy. It's rgrpodcast@gmail.com. Can you guys break down why you have Elam over Gordon? Personally, I have Gordon over Elam. I haven't stacked my corners yet, so I can't say that I have either of them over either of them. But I know they're both behind Booth. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's good. So the thing with Gordon for me, and I'll let you when we do our actual boards, you'll see where they rank. If I'm gonna say that Elam's better than Gordon, it's because he brings a more physical style of game. And if I'm gonna put him over at Gordon, specifically, it'll be for Chiefs fit. Like if we're doing our big boards, I think it might end up being more of a Chiefs fit type of thing. Gordon feels like McDuffie in the sense that he's going to have to play more off coverage and more zone coverage in his career to really find that success. And I think Elam has a more man feel to him, the way he plays in his defense. So that's what I'll say in that regard.
Yeah, I would agree. And just that for enough. Again, I have Booth higher because I want a physical cornerback that can do it all. And Gordon can. Elam, I haven't watched yet. I mean, just like a game live and like half of a film because I had to get back on the offensive side. So we will get to that before it's all done. And you'll see all of our personal ranks as we go through and set up that new Substack. So keep an eye out for that, you guys. It will be a subscription, but it won't be astronomical. Where do you rank Dotson? I'm high on him as like most. Is he in your top 5?
No, he's not in my top 5. He's about in mid-second. Like that's what I have him as, I think, if I remember correctly. I can look at it, right?
No, I just mean, is he one of your top 5 wideouts?
Oh, no, I don't think so, no. Let me just pull it up.
He is my number 5. I have him just ahead of Burks because I'm not a huge Burks guy.
He is my 6.
6? Okay. I'm at 5. 6. That's cool.
Yeah.
Holly, thank you for the support. Obviously, the wide receiver market is crazy this offseason. Absolutely. Do you think the Chiefs will still need to shell out big money for an elite receiver to be competitive this upcoming season? I don't. I think they have role players now and 2 guys in MVS and Juju that could spark something and become more than they've been. I think they need to invest in the young guys in the draft.
Correct.
That's what I think.
I agree.
Okay. What do you think of this one?
Thank you for the question, Des. If Juju breaks out, is there a chance Casey pays him big to keep in Kansas City? I don't think he'll get a big contract because you have to remember that he just came back off of an injury. If he has a good year, like if he breaks out and has the year that he had, like his second year in Pittsburgh, I think that's still a one-off in my opinion. You need consistent results to really pay him big. But I do think he would get maybe a 2-year close to maybe what MVS is getting. That's probably what I would imagine, and that's a reasonable deal to give him some time with a 3rd-year option to keep it, not only prove himself, but to maybe earn a second contract because he's still a 3rd contract, because he's still only 25 years old. Like he's still a young dude, so he's got time.
Yeah, nothing is over yet. Plenty of time, and with this quarterback, you never know.
Nope.
Thank you, Des. Zach, I see Juju working with Pat. Why is McCole not? That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe McCole has a ring finger injury from bowling. I have no idea, but something's going on there, and maybe it's just a timing thing. Let's be honest. Maybe McCole's just not interested in doing that much extra work. I don't know.
Who knows? And the simple fact of the matter is he does not have to.
Fair enough.
Even though he has to.
right, exactly. It is not required, though it is highly recommended, my friend. Both of you named 2 players that would instantly make the Chiefs defense better in this draft.
This year or in the future?
Yeah, this year, guys that can walk in, start, and make an impact right now.
All right.
On defense.
Booth, 1 immediately would make them better. And Perry and Winfrey. Go a little outside the box.
Oh, good for you. Yeah. How much do you like him?
I like him a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure I took him at 50 in my mocks yesterday twice. Like, I did it twice.
Okay. No, that's good. I can live with that. Like, I watched him very, very intently, all the D-line at the Senior Bowl, and I liked him too. And he did spark a few times. But people seeing him as a first-round pick, I'm baffled by. It's not there on film, guys.
50.
Yeah. Just bring it.
Yeah.
For me, two guys that can instantly make the Chiefs defense better. Man, you took Booth, you sneaky little.
I did.
I mean, we'll take out of the top 10, right? So no Sauce,
Yeah,
no
right.
Avon.
Yeah.
I really do feel that Dax Hill can improve this defense, even if it is just at the nickel spot. I really do think that.
Yep.
The other guy too that I really like at safety is Petrie, but I wouldn't call him a first round option. Myself, but I do like it. And then let's see in the fronts. Low key, I'll stick with D tackle. I think Logan Hall can actually do something at 62 or 94. I think he can grow into something that helps.
Yeah.
You don't like?
I said 94. I said 94. That's where I'm more comfortable with Logan Hall than I am at 64.
Okay, you froze on me there for a minute, so I wasn't quite sure. Good question, Julian. What do you think of Christian Watson's Super Bowl or Senior Bowl one-on-ones? He did a pretty good job. They showed you all the highlights. They can show you the ones where he got defeated. Cam Taylor-Britt shut him down a couple of times. I'll tell you that. If that gives you an inkling, like watching it live is a little bit different.
I wanted to say one thing about 1-versus-1. They have the entire field to work with, and they're not asked to run a specific route most of the time. They can kind of get creative with it, and the corner doesn't know what's coming. I don't put too much stock in one-on-ones. I did it with Denzel Mims. Look what's happening. Just don't do it.
I will say this. He did flash a few times in team periods, and that is more structured.
Yes.
Where you have safety help over the top too. And so like it's definitely there. There's spark for upside, but he's not a complete product. He's not close really. He could be the star of this draft, or he could be the biggest bust.
Yep.
Jelani Woods, T from UVA. His athleticism, hype or real?
Hype.
I just recalculated it from the updated pro day numbers. It's not quite as sterling as it was. I mean, still a good athlete.
Yeah, but he is.
I mean,
the dude cannot move on the field. Like he's a motorboat turning in the water. The dude can't move.
You guys want to see a tight end that can move? His name's Tanner Connor. He's from Idaho State. Go find him. It's worth it. I'm just going to tell you. I can't find any 22. Yeah, right. And then the other guy, Noah Ellis from Idaho, not Idaho State. They're two different schools, but I like his film as well. And I've only seen the little grainy camera stuff from the stands because I can't find 22 with either of those teams. Wide range for Olave and Mox. Where does he end up? He might end up in Kansas City, folks.
He could. There's a very realistic chance that he's in Kansas City come next year, or actually come end of April.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. Folks, we're going to keep wrapping it up here. We're under 20. So any of you super chatters, we'll still get your questions answered. Everybody else, we're going to stack these up and run through them. Teddy, convince me why Sky Moore isn't going to be a superstar because I'm starting to have ideas. I mean, I think he can be a very good player, but I don't see superstar when I watch him.
He can't create separation deep. That's going to prevent him from being a superstar in the NFL. And when you watch him play against Michigan, a step up in competition, he struggled to create separation consistently. He does it against everybody else that he plays against. He did struggle a little bit with it at times at Michigan, which is a step up. And he played against Eric Gray a lot, who was going to be a 4th or 5th round pick. He didn't play against like Dexter Hill all the time. I
was going to say the level of competition. I've seen some stuff where he looks pretty sudden to me, but I haven't studied.
Like him. I like Sky Moore. In the second round, I'll take him in the second round. But I don't think he can be a superstar. I think he can be a guy to create separation over the middle in short intermediate areas. He can do a little bit. I don't see him as a super twitchy athlete, but he runs tough after the catch, runs through the ball, something you like to see. So I don't see him taking that Antonio Brown-esque way to superstardom from a guy who's his size.
Agreed. I see more Julian Edelman than I see Antonio Brown.
Agreed.
Okay. Thank you, though. Appreciate you, Teddy. And Teddy again. What are your reactions to if they go wide receiver, their top 2 picks? Specifically, I'm asking about the top 2 picks that they make, regardless of where they are in the draft. I still have a problem with that. You have an edge and a half on your roster. That's what you got. Kano is a total mystery, folks.
Yep.
I'm not even sure he knows the defense yet. So, like, there's no banking on any of this. I need evidence. So, yeah, I would be pretty confused and frustrated with that, Ted.
Yeah.
But thank you for asking the question.
Thank you.
What do you think of Dulcich in the 4th?
I think he's extremely overrated. Like, I feel like people have been propping him up. I don't have him super, super high. Let's see what do I got on him. Yeah, I think he's like middle of my tight ends. I've got McBride graded higher. I've got Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin graded higher. I have Jeremy Ruckert graded higher. I've got Isaiah Likely. I have a lot of guys graded higher than him. I wasn't super impressed with this tape, so I would be a little underwhelmed.
My sleeper, dude.
I like him. I think he's underutilized, like every receiver is in Wisconsin because of what they do. Like, that's what it is. But I still Isaiah Likely is my tight end 1 in this class, by the way. He is.
Wow.
Like,
okay, cool. I look forward to seeing that. Dang. Thank you, Bert. Matthew, favorite right tackle prospect. Yeah, mine's going to be Lucas. Is yours Gadecki?
It is Gadecki right now for the Chiefs. Like, in terms of a guy you can have some possible ability to play tackle in the NFL, but like favorite period, my favorite right tackle prospect. I mean, Iquanu. Iquanu is my favorite tackle prospect. I think he plays right tackle, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, you think you got to move him? I think he can survive at the left.
I think he can.
I was going to say the same thing about Penning.
Yeah.
Chase, thank you. Do you see Casey take a tight end in this draft? This class is loaded at tight end. I would beg to differ. I think this class is very, very poor to mediocre at tight end.
Yes. And yes. Like, this is a mediocre class. I don't know where everyone is like, this is such a good tight end class. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I don't see it. Like, my grade on the number 1 tight end, Trey McBride, who is still my number 1, is barely a starting level. Like, it's iffy. I will say this for the Chiefs specifically, they could land somebody like Ferguson that I think could blossom with them. But just looking at the college film, I don't see the value here. So I think they could go tight end because I think they need the help. I don't think that they're sold on Noah Gray.
Yeah, me too.
And Jody's got the injury. Until Jody's like back 100%, I think there's still some question there. So they could, especially with one of the later, the day 3 picks. But let's see where they actually land and pick. Thanks, Chase. Low lip Brett Coleman said, Brett Coleman said, guys, with Ebiketti's size plus athletic arm have never busted in the NFL. Never? He's 33 and 3/4. I didn't think he was over 34. 34, there's a lot of evidence that they have an advantage. And I like Brett, but Ebiketti's athletic profile, his matrix is not that awesome. He's good, but he's not earth-shattering by any means.
No.
You guys will get all that. So yeah, I don't think Brett's wishing a little bit there. Were the Chiefs targeting DK? I don't think so. Like I said, they'll make an inquiry about anybody that's good that might be available. That's their job. They should.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever really real myself.
Me either.
Thoughts on Carter from Bulldogs next year? What makes him better than the current players in this draft? He is Haas strong. He doesn't have to be the size of Davis to be that strong.
Yeah.
And he's actually got hand fighting technique better than Wyatt, in my opinion.
So much fun.
Yep. His get-off's better than both of them, in my opinion, as well. What else? And he's young. He's like, I think he's not even 20 yet. Just finished his sophomore season. I think he's on the younger side. Like this kid's going to be a marvel. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, me too.
But that's just my thoughts off the top of my head. I actually haven't studied him. He takes my attention away from the other guys when I'm watching Georgia. It's a good sign, you guys. Even with the Tyree gone, how do you feel about more of a committee group receiver? I think Pat can just have as great a season as he did before, even if Tyreek left. Where are you at, Dan?
It's tough. It's a tough spot to be in because he's never played without Tyreek. So you really, really don't know what we're going to find out, what we're going to see. We all think he can do it. Now this is the year you can prove it. Like, you can prove it. That's awesome. You still have to see it. So until we see it, I mean, I want to believe it. It. I just don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm with you. I hope that it comes true. But I will say this: there's got to be some fallback because Tyreek is just too unique to not have some kind of fallback.
Yeah.
I keep seeing mock drafts with us trading in the top 10 picks for a wide receiver. In my opinion, I don't like the idea. What do you guys think? We covered that a little bit. I'd rather go edge and see them address their biggest need right now. Your thoughts on wide receiver Coleman, Phil? It's just a total question. He hasn't played in 2 seasons. He's the biggest question mark on this roster. I'm probably less sure about him than I am about Powell.
Yep, me too. That's exactly what I would say.
But that said, they're going to be on the field here in a week. I think April 18 is when they start their OTAs. Yep. We should get a look at him. So let's see what he looks like, and we'll go from there. Nice thing is we're going to get a good glimpse at some of the new guys before the draft. So that's going to be a plus. So Condre White in the 6th, dude is explosive. I like his film too. I don't know that I'd call him super explosive, but I like what he does. And in the 6th, if he's a 6th, he's probably a UDFA.
I was about to say,
let's be real.
Let's be honest. Like, you're talking about drafting him in the 6th. Just wait. Just wait.
Yeah. But appreciate you, Dean. Ryan, when I watch Wilson, I just don't really see it. See him as a good player. Ryan isn't your number one. What am I missing? That he's never in the wrong place. That he never drops the ball. I think he's got like a 1.6 drop rate for college.
Yeah, something like that. Nuts.
He's not super flashy, but he's not like, there's nothing wrong with his game. I can't find anything that I downgraded him on. He's good at everything.
He has a 6.8 drop percentage.
Oh, is it Olave that's 1.6?
There is no 1.6.
There's somebody.
Not according to this. George Pickens is 2.1.
Oh, somebody's maybe it's a tight end. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at that because I just ran the numbers last night. I was pretty out of it last night, though. I'll tell you that. 1 o'clock, folks, I'm pretty bleary-eyed. Which 2 wide receiver, if they take 1-2, would you riot about? All of them. If their first 2 picks are both wide receivers, I'm bringing the house down.
Yeah, like I don't want to do that at all. That doesn't sound fun. No.
I plead the 5th, Senator. I didn't do it. My prediction: the Chiefs will draft more D than O. Good. I have no idea because I must totally rely on you guys for the player. Fair enough, Longmorn. Appreciate the support, and you will definitely get all the information from us. That's what we're doing too, and they definitely should. Like, I would call it probably 2/3 should be defense.
Yeah.
Thank you again. I know you say not to scout the player, not the helmet. I like Pickens, but I'm a little hesitant because we haven't been able to get most of the Georgia receivers lately. Yeah, but again, they say that for a reason, because you get stuck in that rut and you dig yourself a hole that you could miss a good player on.
But also, what if they did get the most out of those players?
Okay. I see where you're going there, buddy.
It's always a possibility.
It always is. Oh, sorry. Man, my clicker's not working very well. Ian, is bringing back Matthew as a nickel corner a good option? He's played the position for the Chiefs in the past. I mean, as a fit on the field schematically, yes, it's a great option. The fact that he doesn't have a contract, I'd be doing it. The fact they didn't offer him a contract says that whatever the conversation got to, it got to a point where they're no longer interested.
In a couple months, they might be peaked again, depending on
might
his
change
desperation.
That too. And then, like Ving Rhames says in the old movie from Tarantino, it's just about your pride messing with you. You know, do you want to go back? And it may come down to it. Been watching for years, just became a member and bought a Reaper shirt. And the shirt is awesome. Good. I'm glad everybody likes him. I've got good reports about these prints. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Patiently waiting for the mail. Knock on wood. And thank you for being with us for so long. Really appreciate the old school guys letting us know. I love seeing that. Thank you. And thank you, Holly. My predictions for the Chiefs. First 3 draft picks are running back, OT, and punter. Sorry, I'm feeling mischievous tonight. You definitely are. And I'm
not the word you're looking for, but
if there is a specialist selected in this draft, I will riot. You will see me tear things down. I'll chop trees down on camera. I don't care. Like, I may have to work out my inner feelings about that, Holly. Whew. But thank you for the support, and I'll try not to lose it. For both of you, who's your favorite wide receiver sleeper? I'm talking about the guy you might go in round 3 or 4 maybe and could turn into a number 1. Woo! All right, who you got?
Well, I've already talked about him. I do think it's Jalen Tolbert. He is the guy that I think could actually be what I see on his tape. He has the makings of a guy who can create at all 3 levels of the field. And that's what I covet now. That's what I covet now. That's what I've learned to covet.
God is my sleeper is like a 6th round guy.
I know where you're going with.
He's not going to turn into a number 1 though. Jarrett Stearns is never going to be
Nope.
a number 1.
I knew you were going to say it.
He's going to be a super nice complimentary slot dude. A guy that could become a number 1, the guy that reminds me in some ways of a player that used to be here in Jeremy Maclin is Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
So he would be a 3rd or 4th round guy that I think could become that level. You never know. He's from Boise State, in case I haven't said that enough. I can't remember what I say anymore because everything's a dream. VJ, welcome to the memberships. Appreciate you. Glad that you're here. If you would send me an email at this address, I will get you into the Discord. Rookie levels and above, anybody who joins the memberships as a rookie or above makes that commitment, we will get you into the Discord. Then you can hang out with Aaron and Dan and Keys and Gooch. Keys and Gooch will be back eventually, you guys. They're just tied up with their schedules and that kind of thing. So don't fear. We will get back to it. Cody, thank you. We got 2 more. We'll wrap it up here, you guys. What are the chances that Trey Burks transitions to tight end? 0. He can't block DBs worth a darn. He cannot line up in line. And quite frankly, if he gains any more weight, I don't think that he's going to be able to move out in the slot much. There are rumors that he played at 245 in some games, and that's why you see his tape is so inconsistent.
Yeah.
It could be a problem. But Cody, I don't think that's a functional plan for him. So at 6'2", he's undersized for a true Y. Could he go to like an H maybe? Possibly. But he's not Deebo Samuel. Anybody who tells you he's Deebo Samuel is a liar.
Yep.
Or hasn't watched his film. XRP Diamonds, I like that. What's the realistic cost of moving up for Jameson? 11, 13, 15. Mahomes cost 2 first and is going to cost our 2023 first if we keep the pick. You got to disassociate yourself from that. 2017 or 2018 was a completely different draft. It doesn't matter what he was traded for. It hurts a little bit to say, hey, you might have to trade 2 first to get to 11 for a wideout, same as you did for him, but it's different. We don't live in that world any longer.
Oh,
but for you, what's a realistic cost, Dan?
Both of your firsts, and I mean that might get it done to go to 15. You might have to add in a 4th or a 5th, or you don't think they have 5th, 6th, 7th maybe to go up even a little bit further. But I do think it's going to require both.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. All right, let's see here, you guys. Brandon, thank you. Appreciate you. I didn't see a question, so we'll check on that. Winchester is getting up there. He's 30. I know, Holly. You were the queen of the special teams, and I appreciate that. 604. Watching film on Khalil Shakir is rough with the blue. Yeah, the Smurf turf is rough. I had a couple buddies that played at Boise, and oh man, being there is even worse. I'll just tell you guys, when the sun's beating down on it, no, it ain't any good. Okay, so that's going to wrap us up for tonight. Answered your questions. I only went 22 minutes over, Dan. Thank you for your control. I appreciate it.
I did try.
Yeah, you did great, as always. Dan's going to run the draft live streams. You guys are going to dig that. He has a video for you tomorrow, and then he has film. I'll be back with Seth on Thursday. I'm cranking out the draft guide. By the time we meet again on Thursday night, it should be out. That same code is going to work for you guys, RGR22AM. I might even build another one for you just for the shorter one because the book is bigger and you should get a different code. But I will get to that. Check out Locked On Chiefs for all the other stuff, and the Locked On Draft Show is just crazy. We're adding people all the time. So I'm really excited, Dan. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing around here. Folks, we've been grinding for a lot longer than you know, a couple of months on this film. And it's me and Dan. You guys will meet EJ Holt eventually. He's our newest guy. We're grinding this out to give you more content in the draft guide. And the future's only looking brighter. So Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate all you super chatters. Check out the draft store, the draft guide and the RGR store, all those things. Dan will talk to you tomorrow, and I'll be back on Thursday. You all have a great week. We'll talk to you then.